Hello everyone, this is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone.
And joining us as our special guest this week, it's Loremaster of Sotek.
Hello, hello! Hello, hello, how are y'all doing?
Not too bad, the heatwave seems to have finally passed here. It's just muggy now rather than hot, but, slow improvement, better than nothing.
And it is the summer holidays.
Lucky for some.
I know.
And speaking of hot,
we apologise this episode.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, sorry, this episode's a week late. Challenges meant we didn't get it done. I'm not going into it, it's not important. But yeah, sorry, it's a week late because we do have a lot to get through, and it's even more so because we're a week late. So yeah, there you
go. So let's just jump straight into it. The big summer preview. There was a lot revealed, and I mean a lot. So let's just jump straight into the reveal order. New leaks of Votann.
These are great. I have a friend at Warhammer Club, one of my colleagues who's staff, who actually plays Votann. And before we broke up for summer, I waited to go and find him and go, thoughts? And he went, yeah. It was pretty much his response.
I can see why there's a lot of good shit here, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. I think one of my favourite things is they've actually really gone in on the Ironkin, like the whole. Are they officially AI? I can't remember now.
Yeah, they're AIs.
Yeah, they've really gone in and allowed you to make a proper AI army rather than just saving up helmets to make your basic troopers look like they're all Ironkin. There's actual proper Ironkin dedicated units. There's a proper unit, proper character even, which I think is great. They've really gone to town on making this work, and I thoroughly approve. But I'm getting ahead of myself because start at the top with the coolest character, Buri Agnisson, the thrice devoured, who basically says, fuck you, I wear a Tyranid as a hat.
I really like his model. Like, that's it. That is probably my favorite design I've seen for the Votann so far.
That's bold.
It really does. It really does lead into the whole space dwarf, like, hunter slayer aesthetic type thing, in a way.
And also he's Commissar Yarrick, in that if he dies, he gets back up on a 2+.
So Yarrick didn't die, he just shrunk in a wash.
Well, he's a really nice callback to the whole, like, the old squats got eaten by Tyranids and that's why they're not around anymore. I think making an allusion to that with a special character was a really clever idea.
Oh, definitely. Did I cut out? Fuck.
Nope. We got to the end of Sotek's thing, you went, yeah, and then there was silence. I thought you were waiting for us to jump in. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I thought I cut out. Anyway, moving on to the next character, I can't remember his name because I haven't got
the Arcanist Evaluator.
Yes, aka Dr. Wily.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a fun model. That is just a fun model.
It really makes sense. The Votann, much more so than the Adeptus Mechanicus, alongside the Tau, they're sort of a hybrid between the Tau and the Orcs in that they do experimental tech, but not complete mad science like the Orcs do. Like, they're more than happy to go and field test some stuff themselves, like a mech boy would, but it's a bit more sanitized like the Tau would. So it's a nice hybrid of the two. This here is called a transmatter inverter, which has different fire modes and can rupture tissue at a cellular level, standard stuff. A lasgun can do that, but whatever. Still cool.
I like his bionic eyes. They remind me very much of Bato from Ghost in the Shell.
That is a reference I do not follow. Sorry.
No, you are correct. They do definitely have that vibe.
I was going to say, you've not seen Ghost in the Shell, but then again, you've not even seen Akira yet, have you? So,
God, that's an old joke.
I know. Well, when am I going to get another chance to reference it? This was a perfect chance. But yeah, there you go. I just posted an image of Bato from Ghost in the Shell so you can see what I mean in regards to the eyes.
I see where you're coming from.
Yes. Next up, we have the Iron King character, the Mimir, who is probably very sleepy. Shout out to the Spanish speakers listening.
Yes, so the Memnir, as it's officially spelt, although I do believe it is a reference to Mimir, the smartest man alive in Norse mythology, is a strategist character, hence why I think it's a reference, and is a proper Ironkin. Its whole thing is about linking units together, multiplying power, and it also hints at Votann's new mechanic, something called yield points. We don't know much about what they do yet. We do know that they can give you small bonuses to army-wide buffs. We'll find out more down the line, but this guy is a proper buff character designed to tag along with the Ironkin Steeljacks. More on them in a moment. But while we're here, this model looks freaking dope because it's a robot wearing a coat, and I think that's just cool.
The thing
and
that
he's got 4 arms, he's playing with an iPad. Sorry, carry on, Sotek.
No, you're all good. The thing I really like about him is I think this is a really good job for leaning into the robots of this particular faction. Because, like, when you look at it and you're just focused on the initial silhouette, it's like, oh, it's like just kind of a guy. But then the more you look at it, the weirder and the weirder and weirder it gets. Where it's like, oh no, he has like an extra set of hands coming out of his stomach that's playing with a little device. Oh, and he's got like weird camera things floating in the air coming out of his backpack. Wait, no, one of them's coming out of his head. Like he's got all sorts of weird little details that makes him almost, he doesn't feel cobbled together per se, but it's not like just a person. Like it's got like all sorts of weird, fun little attachments, which makes it appear very different than the robots of other factions.
Yeah, there's no way you'd look at this and go, this is just a person wearing a fancy hat, like a fancy helmet. Like even a tech priest, if in the AdMech, because I keep saying to make 2 AdMech references in 5 minutes, I've clearly got AdMech on the brain. But you wouldn't look at a glance, you go, oh, that's just a person, but wearing a funny helmet, and then you stop. And you look and go, wait, as you say, wait, more. Well, it could just be like a tech priest in a fancy hat. No, hang on. And you're right. The more you look at it, the more your brain picks things up. Also, if that iPad thing you mentioned, Remleiz, is done freehand, then holy hell, that person in heavy metal needs a pay rise, because what the hell is that?
Agreed.
Yes. Anyway.
Yes, speaking of the Steeljacks, yeah, the Iron King got Primaris upgrades. Badumtish. Because these are basically big Ironkin.
Yeah, they get heavy-duty bodies, heavy weapons with either plasma blades, or concussion gauntlets, or vulcanite disintegrators. So you can go for a proper gun unit like you're equivalent to Eradicators, or a melee unit more akin to Terminators. It's just a really cool set of middies. Maybe I am just basic, but I look at these and I go, these are really freaking cool because it's big robots with big guns and swords, and I think that's just cool.
I look at them and immediately think, "You want a piece of me, boy?" StarCraft.
The thing I really appreciate about the design that they went with is like, because the idea that these are the robot AI things, but instead of making them like super horrifying, freaky robots, like kind of like what we see with like AdMechs. Granted, those are people with bits added. But, like, they have very, like, they've got Votann body shapes. Like, they're taller and they're bigger because they're heavier. But I like the fact that they clearly see themselves as, quote-unquote, people. It's not like the AI that's gone completely wild. They identify themselves as being similar to the Votann, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and I think something that someone raised, I saw this online, of what is the actual Ironkin core? Because if you look at how all Ironkin are painted, if you look at through all the Votann armor, you'll notice that all Ironkin have got a white, creamy patch that then embeds into green armor below. And what some people are speculating is that section that's painted white, effectively, that not just the dome, but the bit underneath it as well, is the actual AI core that you just lift out and implant into different bodies depending on what the AI wants or needs or the battle calls for. I don't know.
I believe it is the torso, given this artwork of like one that's just been given like hover units and it's where its arms and waist should be.
I
would love for them to have like a character at some point that is like just that detaching out of a body that's been like partially destroyed. That'd be cool.
Hang on, what about Space Gandalf? What's his name? Sorry, my colleague at work calls the not Psycho Space Gandalf all the time, and I don't actually remember his name. Grimnir, thank you. Because he has attendants, and are they kin? What are they?
You're thinking of they're drones. They're Corvs, I believe they're called.
Oh, because they look like Ironkin with fancy backpacks and bolters.
No, those ones are just drones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you can see why I got confused if you look at the actual
Yeah, I get you, yeah.
things side by side. They really do look like just standard AI cores. Standard AI cores. What a stupid sentence that is. Anyway, but no, these are really cool and I thoroughly approve. And we're not even done, by the way. Like, we've still got proper Earthshaker mortar artillery to do. We've got a new light transport vehicle to do. Votann are eating good. Yeah, I know. Votann are eating good, but everyone else needs to eat too, so let's hurry up.
Yes, the mole mortars. I fucking love them. I love the little little tokens with the actual artillery shells bursting from the ground. That's great.
I hope that they have gameplay effects. Like within 3 inches of this token, your movement is reduced by 2 because it just erupted into an earthquake. I don't know.
It's got to do something. Otherwise, it'd be such a pointless little thing. So I'm not sure what, but it must have some effect.
And what are the new vehicles? The new buggy called?
The Capricus.
That's it.
So it can either have a defender, which is fast-moving weapons with sort of a... What's it got? A twin Magna Coil autocannon or a high-las rotary cannon or whatever. But it also comes with a transport variant for the new Jaegers. You know, the ones with the trench coats?
Yeah.
So they get a transport variant called the Capricus Carrier, which only carries 5. But it basically works a bit like the Venom for Drukhari, where they had a slightly slower transport in the Raiders. Not the Raiders are slow, but you know what I mean, for bigger units. But then these elite small units, you can get specific light transports for them. That's what it makes me think of anyway.
Yeah, I really feel like the Votann have graduated from kind of the sort of skeletal release range to like a pretty nice flush range now.
Why couldn't some of the Age of Sigmar releases have that? But never got past skeletal.
Well, speaking of skeletal, we can always move on to the Tomb Kings.
Oh,
how's that for a segue?
That's a fantastic segue. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, right. So starting off with the Royal Heralds.
Yeah, there's a retcon here, isn't there? I remember hearing about this. This is a retcon.
Yeah, so not sad to see the retcon. It takes a little bit of identity away from the Tomb Kings, so it's fine. Of that, in old fantasy, once the Tomb Kings got separated into their own line outside of just undead, one of the things that they did is that you could not take Tomb Princes and Tomb Kings on horses. They had to ride on chariots. And it was mostly because they didn't really have like any heavy cav. So you wanted to put your characters inside chariot units, and they had like unique interactions where the Tomb Kings were one of the only armies that could do that. Put their chariot characters into a unit instead of having them run around solo. But they wrote some lore stuff to go along with it, where they were like, oh yeah, the horses are seen as the beasts of the great god Geheb, who is the lord of the earth. But because of that, the royalty saw them as these filthy creatures of the earth that are covered in dirt and dust, and they were considered lowly beasts that were not supposed to be touched by royalty. So the people that would like handle the actual creatures and hook them over to the chariots and like control them were peasants of the Nehekara lines, while the royal bloods would ride around the chariot platform being all cool and stuff. But with the exception being the lich priests and the heralds, which are not royal blooded, or at least they're not held in royal positions, because a lot of lich priests are actually royal blooded, but they were firstborns. They were given to the mortuary cult and don't get to hang on to their royal blood status. But in any event, so this actually brings us a full-on Tomb King and Tomb Prince on horseback, but they did upgrade them because they're not regular horseback, they're barded horses, which Tomb Kings have never had before. And they're just gorgeous.
There's no Tomb King option, apparently, actually. It's only Tomb Princes that can do this right now. It says BSBs or Tomb Prince. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you mid.
No, you're okay.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think you could just run it as a king with the rules update they're gonna add. But it's god, it's so pretty though. Like, oh my god, it's a pretty model.
Agreed. The barding really works on the skeletal steed, and the helm, like, I don't know, it all works. The Tomb Prince himself is pretty standard fare, but they really went to town on the barding on that horse, so well done.
Yeah, banner looks great.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that the banner on the Tomb Herald is spectacular. Like, I really like when they have the big wide banners that have like a lot of fun stuff going on because you can do a lot of really fun painting stuff with them. It's just a good looking mini. It just looking at the horse just kind of makes me mad because it makes me want like a regular unit of horses, so that I don't have to rely on because the old ones are ugly. God, they're ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just going to say, speaking of Leech Priests, they've also got some new models, I believe.
Yes, yeah. So pretty much the entire character line, generic character line of the Tomb Kings now has brand new models. Unless you run them on a chariot, in which case you have to finagle some other stuff. But the new Lich Priest looks amazing. I am very intimidated by the idea of ever having to paint that scroll and would not want to, but everything else looks really good.
Yeah, I admit, I was out at dinner. I was going to do a snarkathon with my friends for this preview, and I ended up being out for dinner with work. And I watched I read the list of reveals on the big Warhammer community article, and I saw Tomb Kings, and I was like, Cetra, please tell me they're redoing Cetra. And they talk about Cetra all the time. The Arcane Journal is literally named what's it called? The War of Cetra's Fury. But we're not getting a new Cetra or a new Chariot King that you could turn into Cetra, and I think that's a travesty.
Yeah, it's killing me. It's genuinely killing me. I'll say this, not everyone agrees, but I really think Cetra getting a new model should have been the first big reveal of the old world.
More than the dragon, because the dragon was a mixed bag.
Yeah. I think that would have been the go-to play. It's weird. The Tomb Kings not having a new chariot model yet is super not great, because it would be such a nice kit if they could just release like a nice big chariot kit where you could build it as Cetra, a Tomb King or Tomb Prince, or a Necrotect or a Tomb Herald. Like, you could have a bunch of different characters in it that could be run as foot, or like it would be such a popular kit, but they're being very slow about it.
Yeah, and I think that's just a miss.
Then again, knowing they'll probably just re-release the old Cetra model anyway, so...
Well, he's been out for a good while, but I don't like it. Like, I would not... Especially because it's not designed well. Because if you actually look at his model, he doesn't fit on his own base. So he has like a really weird-looking base. Because when he originally came out, they couldn't get him to fit. Because he's got these 4 fat horses on the front. So the front half of his model is 100 millimeters wide, but then the back half of the model with the chariot is only 50 millimeters wide. So he has like a weird T-shaped base from his original design, and it's so stupid looking.
I can imagine.
I'm excited for the book, though. Book's going to be great, I think.
Yes, however, if you like your undead a little bit less skeletal, then Age of Sigmar has got you covered with new battle tomes for Nighthaunt and Flesh Eater Courts, along with a new character and a spearhead of just mashing old stuff together. The Flesh Eater Courts character is High Falconer Felgrin, who is actually a full-on vampire. I don't know. I think this is really dumb, but also really cool. He looks like a witch hunter, but also an actual falconer, and I think it looks really cool.
Using bats instead of falcons, obviously.
The Flesh Eater Courts probably have the most comical range of special characters, and I don't mean that in like a negative sense.
Oh no, it's the best thing ever.
Like, they're hilarious while also being absolutely horrifying at the same time. It's great.
That's their delusion. That's their entire lore. Is they're so lost in the delusion of madness because of Usharan or the Gore Kings around them that they genuinely do believe that they are who they say they are, not these feral vampire ghoul thingies who just run around eating people. Like, they don't believe it, and I genuinely love the design archetype. I'll never do Fallout Flesh Eater Courts, but God, I still want to.
I do love the old theory that the Flesh Eater Courts are basically just what happened to Bretonnia, essentially.
It was painfully like just written so in your face that way, especially in first edition and early second edition. It was so over the top. It's not as bad now, but it was like...
It was pretty obvious with the endless spells as well, because the endless spells was like, a bunch of horses and like shields that had the fleur de lis on it and stuff. I was like, yep.
Yeah, and the holy grail, the great chalice of Ishoran, you're like, okay. Yeah. But I love this guy. It's great to imagine like the great fantasy trope of like the noble ranger with like the faithful hawk, and in reality he's just some homeless guy that's throwing giant bats in people's faces. It's great.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, going from throwing bats to throwing vials of poison gas at you instead.
I love
the
Nighthaunt.
vitriolic.
Nighthaunt are my favorite to play. Nighthaunt are my favorite AOS army, and this guy is spectacular looking. I suspect I know probably kind of how he'll function, but this is probably the creepiest Nighthaunt character we've gotten, and he looks great. The fact that he's got the weird extra set of arms coming out of his hunchback, and he's it's a very, very pretty model. The paint job, I will say, the paint job they did on all the files and stuff looks incredible.
Yeah, the chemistry set looks great.
Like the bottle that he has, the way they painted it to make it look like it's pouring out, which they had to do that freehand, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, also if you look at the bottle from the side, it almost looks like souls escaping from the bottle as well. So they really, really cooked with the design team there, so fair play. I can't decide if this is more a reference to MK1 Shang Tsung or the Clown from Dead by Daylight, but, whichever works. But no, these are really, really cool minis. I've always liked Nighthaunt as a range, but I have no interest in painting them, and thus I have no interest in playing them.
Yeah, I mean, if you like blending, they're like the easiest faction to paint. If you don't like blending, then you'll hate every moment of it.
No, I haven't even tried contrast paints yet. Fuck off.
Well, I tell you what, you all will love, regardless. We're finally getting Chaos Dwarfs, lads and ladies.
The Hellsmiths of Hashut. We said it, didn't we, in the preview video when we were talking about it, when we made our predictions. I'm pretty sure Chaos Dwarfs came up in there, and holy hell, they did AOS Chaos Dwarfs, and they absolutely fucking cooked.
Yeah, I mean,
this genuinely may be the best set of minis they revealed all weekend. I know Votann is right there, and I think it's a toss-up, but these guys are obscenely good, and I'm so here for it, and I'm going to shut up now that you talk.
Yeah, I mean, like, when we first saw the army set, the first thing I saw when I looked at the back was, is that a fucking Kadai Destroyer? From Monstrous Arcanum.
I do...
It's not, but it's very similar.
Yeah, I do like that it's turned out to be hot dwarf summer. But I'm really happy with this range. Funny enough, my only complaint is I don't like the official color scheme. The fact that like all the fire and demon flame and stuff is green, I think was not a great choice, because it makes it easily confused for like Warpstone, and kind of sends like some confusing lore messengery. But the minis are absolutely spectacular. I also am full kudos to GW, because I wasn't expecting them to give the Chaos Dwarfs a full-on
range.
A full range right off the bat, and B, the dual heads of male and female. I would never have predicted that for Chaos Dwarfs.
No, give them credit where it's due. I think the only thing that disappoints me is that that's not a Hell Cannon. I know it's baby Hell Cannon, but anyway, let's go through the minis and we'll get there. So first up is the War Despot, which is a really powerful warlord, drives people before them, massive demonically infused blades, nice. Honestly, I think they should have a shield, but that's personal preference. But they do have a gun, so, they do have gun, which is something, I suppose. It will be interesting to see as well what lore they give them, because there's already some Chaos Dwarf lore. So I'm going to have to stop calling them that. They're called the Zardron. So I'm going to try and call them that, because we don't call the bloody Caradron, and we don't call the Fire Slayers. Let's call them what they're called. I wondered how people would feel about them being put into AOS rather than reinvented for Old World. I think AOS should give them more room to breathe. And now I've lost my train of thought of what I was actually saying before. But yeah, I wish they had a shield.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, I appreciate that with these Chaos Dwarves, they're going back to, like, their original design rather than going with the redesign they went through with Tamarkan. Because Tamarkan, they just look like tiny Chaos Warriors with beards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They definitely leaned back into the big hat aesthetic.
Yeah.
Agreed. Especially on the Infernal cohorts, these are the basic infantry. And I say that very loosely because they're royal clans. They've got demonically infused spears, and they get a pet hobgrot to be their musician as well, which I think is just really cute. But they've done for that with the short swords and shields. Also, I love the fact that the hobgrot isn't even the musician; he's just carrying the gong to get whacked by a
He's
Zardron.
the instrument.
He is the instrument. But it says that they use spears, but they've also got a swords option if you'd prefer. Genuinely look like basic infantry, will be probably quite easy to paint. And one thing I do appreciate is that, they haven't gone mad on detailing on these basic minis, because as someone who has painted Eivnir Deepkin, Lumineth Realm Lords, and Hedda Knights of Slanesh, my god, Blissbarb Archers still give me nightmares. These guys are actually really simple. Design-wise, there's a lot of flat spaces and large surfaces to paint on, and I think that a lot of painters who struggle with detailing, like a lot of the kids at Warhammer Club, would really appreciate minis like this, because we don't get them very often.
Yeah, I will say that for people that are old world fans, these models are much better designed than most AOS models to swap between the settings, because AOS tends to have pretty dynamic posing that can make ranking up really difficult, and these models seem much more carefully designed.
There are no Chaos Dwarf rules to use, are there?
There are in the Legacy rules.
Fair enough.
So I bet you're going to see these models at tournaments and stuff, because the fantasy community does not give a fart in the wind about the difference between Legacy and Official, but yeah.
Fair. And then comes on to the Hell Cannon at home. Sorry, you will not tell me that this is an upgrade on the Hell Cannon. It's called the Tormentor Bombard. It fires raw demonic energy formed from refined and processed demons. Yes, that is an actual sentence. Alternatively, it can fire a Death Shrieker rocket battery, which has sentient demonic fire.
Yeah, I do love that they've kept pretty much all of the main Chaos Dwarf lore intact, with like just a few minor changes here and there. But seeing Death Shrieker rocket back is great. Seeing it's like they kind of, I mean, yeah, it basically just is the Hell Cannon, except for it's less likely to turn around and eat the crew now, which is good.
But it just looks infinitely less cool. Like, sorry, editing Remleiz is going to have an extra job. Put a Hell Cannon image on screen of the classic Hell Cannon and tell me that this is better.
Post the image in the chat so I don't forget.
Yeah, I'll go get it. Yeah, I got it. But no, tell me that this... I know that obviously you'd have to redesign it a little bit, but genuinely, you tell me that this design looks better as a demonically infused cannon that fires demon cannon artillery at people. Tell me that this is not cooler. I fucking dare you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super duper classic kit. I do like that the new one feels a bit more industrial. But I do miss the big like metal demon mouth on the end of the barrel.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that really bothers me. It's the maw, the whole massive demonic maw. Just really, I really like it. Anyway, I'm nitpicking.
Going from demonic maw to demonic moo.
Yes, the Dominator engine. Holy hell, this thing is cool. With Bane maces or Immolation cannons. Yes, that's their name. Holy fucking hell.
It's basically if Beast Mortos was a robot.
Yeah, I'm quite partial to the melee variant, but it's a beautiful kit.
Oh no, cannons every time. I say this as someone who loves smashing things in close combat. The cannon variant looks so much cooler to me.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job with it. It looks absolutely cool. All the demon flames. I also love that the demon flames all have just like random eyeballs poking out of them, which is just fun. But the smoke effect looks really, really nice. I mean, it's just a beautiful kit. I love that every single model in the range, with very few exceptions, appears to be some kind of dual kit, which is just nice bang for your buck.
Oh, also, the battle tome will contain lore of who or what Hashut is and how he relates to the other dwarf gods. Just FYI for you lore nerds in the corner.
Yeah, the indication seems to be that he is definitely some form of fallen ancestor god, which I'm really hoping they're going to bring back and reveal him to have been Skavor all along, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But, this is just the army set. We've just gone through the army set, but they're also releasing the entire rest of the army alongside it, and my god, they kept cooking. We've got the Demon Smith, who can heal up your machines, but also chuck fire at people, because, why not? Sort of your answer to the Rune Priest.
Book. I love his book, right, with big stone tablet pages. I fucking love that.
He's got such good, and I mean this as a pure compliment, he's got such awesome Gul'dan vibes going on that it's just... It's ridiculous.
The youth of today would say he has aura.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just me. Or was the flames painted to look like they're crystalline as well?
They look like they've got star patterns running through them,
like crystal fire. So how does that work?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a nice paint job, and I love that his goofy little stand has little dendrites so it can move itself around.
Mm.
Yeah, of course. However, if you prefer yourself to make priests rather than wizards, then you can make the Ashen Elder, who basically took a look at the Sigmarite warrior priest and said, "You what, bro?" And just made himself way shorter, but also way cooler. And he also gives basically feel no pain to units around him, which is nice. That head, by the way, looks like it's been carved out of pure stone, and I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I do.
It's because Chaos Dwarves turn to stone.
Yeah, he's partially petrified.
Draw power from the desolation and ransack of the earth. That checks out.
Yeah, their magic petrifies them over time, yeah.
Yeah, when Chaos Dwarves use too much magic, it starts turning their bodies to stone, because Dwarden were never meant to use magic. Oh!
Yeah, because wasn't there a Chaos Dwarf character who was literally all petrified except for his head, so he had to have a robot body or something?
Astragoth Ironhand, his legs, his entire lower body, and some of his bits of his arms were petrified. So all that was left was his head and parts of his chest and a little bit of his fingers, I think.
Yes, and probably the bit that made every Chaos Dwarf fan squee the most: Bull Centaurs.
And we got a dual kit, which I was so happy about. I thought it was just going to be a singular kit. But nope, we got a dual kit. We got heavily armored, dual-wielding bros. And then we've got partially
Anointed
naked
sentinels, they're called.
Yeah, we got basically the temple guardians with these badass bull helmets and just bare chest. Look at those muscles. Look at those muscles.
Basically, a whole squad of Mataros, essentially.
They look nice and thick. I'm glad they did a good job. I think one of the easy tricks or traps to fall into when making Bull Centaur models is the lower half looking a little too horse-like, but these have proper bull bodies and they're big lads.
Yeah. Although if you're still not done, we could keep going for an hour, but we do have a clock to watch. They've also been given heavy infantry gunners. So these are called the Infernal Razors. They can have either blunderbusses or flamethrowers. Yes, Chaos Dwarves with demon flamethrowers. That's a thing. And I think that's so fucking cool. I think the cannons look cooler, but the flamethrowers, man. I love flamethrower units, even though they're so unbalanced.
Well, I was going to say, since you said we have more to get through, sticking with Chaos Dwarves briefly, but moving on to Underworlds, Chaos Dwarves are also getting a band for that as well, called the Blood of the Bull.
Yes, they are, and there's got a flamethrower in there. Good segue. These guys look good. I don't know who painted them, because I don't think they did the best job, personal opinion. But that's just, I'm not saying I could do any better. I couldn't. Just the guy, the actual champion, looks more like a goblin than he does a dwarf. It reminds me of Grom the Paunch, and that's probably not a compliment.
I think it's a she.
Yeah. It's a woman.
Sorry.
You can tell by lack of beard.
No, it's you're not wrong, but it's a fun little warband. It'll make like if you're someone that's playing Underworlds, adds a new faction, which is awesome. But even if you're not, they make for some really nice minis that you could switch out into your regular range, and
they are a unit in the book most of the time.
Yes, that too. Yeah, and they have a good amount of character. Like I love the Underworld warbands. This one looks pretty fantastic. I think the only model in it that I'm a little towards is the Hobgrot, but the rest of them look really, really nice.
Well, if you're bothered about the Hobgrots, there's a whole new kit of Hobgrot Vandals coming out, armed with axes and shields and actually, I think that's it. A couple of great axes and a couple of stabby things. So they're called Vandals. They just sort of run around for dying in droves. Very goblin-y to do. Very much like
I'm really happy with their kits, though. One of the things I was a little worried about was that when we got the Hobgrots as part of the Kruleboyz range, they weren't really what everyone thought of when they think hobgoblins. They were like these kind of weird pot-bellied looking goblins. Like they were odd. Like they were a lot shorter and bizarre looking. And I didn't really think of them as hobgoblins. Whereas the new ones, like the Vandals and stuff, and the new Hobgrots as part of the regular Chaos Dwarf units, they look like proper hobgoblins, which is awesome.
Mm. And we get to see the payoff for your petrification of sorcerers with Urak-Tar. Take the wheel.
I will say that I forget what the new version of it's called, but the Bull Centaur riders look amazing.
So this is called an Infernal Taurus, and it basically looks like a mecha bull.
Yeah, and like holy cow! Like I've definitely seen some discourse about if people prefer these
unintended.
It was not intended actually, but I love these. I love that they're just big, horrifying statues that have come to life, and they look absolutely amazing. Like they're going to look really, really good whether you paint them in a stone colors theme or a metallic colored theme. They look great. The big sorcerer prophet character, the fact that he's mostly unclose, you can just see all the horrible petrification on his body, which is really gross to look at because there's all these just like giant deep cracks in his flesh. It looks awesome. It's a beautiful kit. And I do think it works really well because if anybody like is particular to the old kit or if they preferred like the living version, it's not too hard to get like your own print version or find a version of Cinder Breath from the old Force World kit. But you can build it as a bunch of different alt forms, and you can build it with a male rider or a female rider. It's a beautiful kit. It is just gorgeous.
Yeah, again, more magic effects that I don't think anybody wants to paint. I think I really do prefer it in the bronze, the style that the main character gets, rather than the green stone. I mean, it looks great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I look at that and where am I thinking of? Am I thinking of Moria? There's a place in a film where they like go underground and it's mostly like green stone. Is it the Mines of Moria? Am I getting that mixed up?
Oh no, it's Minas Morgul you're thinking of.
Ah, that's the one. Sorry. But yes, it very much reminds me of that. And also, I watched Wicked earlier this week, so Emerald City vibes as well from The Wizard of Oz. But either way, it looks great. And I think what would be really interesting is how forgiving would it be for you to almost not just animate it, but make it more like demonic. Like how far away could you get with those wings looking biological? And armored, and therefore making it feel like an actual living creature. That could be a really interesting painting challenge as well.
Yeah, so definitely some interesting kit batches that can be done. I mean, there's plenty of giant wings to pick from nowadays, so definitely some experimentation.
The female demon smith is just holding I cast fireball, and just throwing a fire rock at people. I think that's just great.
Yep, great kit.
Great army. Honestly, GW, I've said before, AOS, I tip my hat to you. You've uncooked.
Yep, so quickly going back to Underworlds, let's talk about the other war band that goes against the Chaos Dwarves, the Kernothi one.
These guys make me mad.
Why?
Where's this army?
Yeah, it's like, this is the second time we've gotten an Underworld warband for them, and they're so cool, they're such a unique expression of elves where it's like, oh, they're beast elves and all of them are centaurs or satyrs. And it's like, that's awesome. I love them. Where are they?
Yeah, this is the same level of cross that I feel about the absence of the Umbraneth and Malaneth. Sorry, not Malaneth, Malerian from the setting, considering he's been confirmed to be a thing for years. Like, I understand that we got given a lot of elves in quick succession with Daughters and Idneth, and Lumineth got loads. I accept all of that, but guys, it's been a full edition now. Can we do the new elves, please? You've just done new dwarves. We need to match up and have a War of the Beards showdown here, so we need some cool elves.
The cynic in me is saying, like, oh yeah, they can't release the full Kanothi army because they're in a legal battle with Blizzard because it looks too much like the Night Elf shit. You know, with their Deer Centaurs and all that.
If that were the case, they wouldn't release this.
There might be some legal loophole, I don't know, but that's just a cynic in me talking.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's a nice kit. I really like these guys. I think the original set came out in 2nd edition.
It was Beastgrave.
Oh yeah,
So 3rd edition.
Yeah, but it's like I'm waiting for them to do something with it because it's been at least 2-3 years. So
2 or 3. It feels like 5. Underworld. When did Beastgrave come out?
Why do they have green belly buttons?
I assume, I don't know.
2019. It's been 6 years since Beastgrave came out.
6 years. Oh my god, that's horrifying. But anywho, yeah, I think that's definitely like Gyronite. It's the Realmstone of Gyran, or the Realm of Life. But it's definitely new to have those like implanted in their belly buttons, because the first generation, we'll say, didn't have that. So I'm curious if they've had like a lore update, or if this is just something about these 3 in particular.
Well, if they dropped a battle tome and a new army, that would solve that question. But, you know, come on, G-Dubs, it's been 6 years since you revealed this mini range. Come on! Anyway. So, next thing on the preview trail is Horus Heresy. New Mastodon, new Whirlwind, new Scorpius.
For Legions Imperialis.
Options. Oh, I didn't read that bit. But okay, not interested now. I mean, Baby Vindicators, Cerberus, tanks, Typhons, and a book. And yeah, I thought this was for Heresy for a second, then I realised it was Legions, and now I feel stupid and I'm no longer interested. Moving on.
Wah, wah, wah. Well, they do also have like the Liber Strategia book coming out as well, whatever that is.
It's a rules rebalance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What actual Heresy got is Assault Marines with Mark II jump packs.
Yay.
I mean, Chaos Space Marine Raptor players are in shambles, because this is just what the modern version of Raptors pretty much looks like, just more spiky. I mean, the armor's obviously a lot newer, but, you know, this whole massive twin-tailed jetpack thing, it's very much just like Chaos Space Marine Raptors and Warp Talons, but bulkier. So, they look fine. They make sense to exist. They should exist, but... Also, why do they have chain axes? I thought that was a World Eater thing. Why do these Iron Warriors have chain axes?
No, they weren't just exclusively a World Eaters thing. It's just that the World Eaters preferred them. But finding out the original Forge World sprue called them power axes for some reason. That's just weird.
Yeah. Also, sticking with Heresy, and I'm going to move along quickly because the clock. They're doing the Scouring as a book series. They decided to do it.
I mean, we all knew they were going to do it. The question was when. And from one view, I can understand why doing it immediately after Siege of Terror was like, well, it's next chronologically, just do it anyway. But at the same time, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting sick to death of fucking Heresy. I'm getting bored of it.
Don't even get me started. Don't get me started.
Don't get me wrong. Like I enjoyed Siege of Terror. I enjoy the Heresy stuff, but I just wish we could have gone somewhere else for a little bit, just to, like, you know, take a bit of a breather. You know, because it's.
I know what you mean.
All I'm
Heresy
saying
burnout.
is we have one overworld book. One.
What? One old world book where I had a Bretonnian knight using a bow and arrow.
Yeah, okay. Let's line up all of the Black Library books that have lore problems, and we'll see who's left standing. But
isn't that like one of the biggest things in the Bretonnian code of chivalry. Thou shalt not use a missile weapon.
Yeah, I mean, they could fix it really easy if they literally just included a line where it's like, oh, the Pegasus ladies are exiles and they have like a different interpretation because they live out in the border prince, yada yada yada. But I'm not too worried about it.
By missile, we thought you meant guided missiles.
She dies anyway. Who cares?
Well, not Games Workshop, otherwise they've written another novel. Hey!
Yeah, it's like, I feel like the Horus Heresy should be its own printing company at this point, because that's all Black Library puts out.
Feels like it sometimes. But, let's put the fact that in 5 years' time, people are going to come back to this and forget about the fact it was just thrown at us straight after the End of the Death was less than a year old. Like, obviously, that's our initial reaction of why they're doing this now, but bear in mind, this book's going to be around forever, and take it out of the context of Burnout and look at it as a standalone or as a sequel to the Horus Heresy. I honestly think this is a story they had to do. I think they should probably keep it brief. They put a 1 above this first one called Ashes of the Imperium by Chris Ray. I honestly think they should keep it to, like Dawn of Fire is 9. I think try and keep it short. Like, make it multi-book, multi-author like they've done with Dawn of Fire, but keep it brief. Like, don't
6
don't
books
go
or something.
I'd cap out at 10 because there are certain things you have to do. Like, there's a few things that talk about here. A, how do you get control of the Imperium back off the Primarchs? The Emperor is gone. Malcador is gone. Valdor probably could kill all of them on the spot, but he's not going to kill them all at once. So, how do you get control of the Primarchs?
In fairness, the only scenario people are really interested in is the Iron Cage. That's the only one people are really interested in.
Yeah, that's got to come up. But I think this is also a chance, and I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they should do it either. But it gives them a chance to actually canonically write out Khan, Russ, Vulcan, and actually do the Fall of Caliban. And actually write the Fall of Caliban. And properly write Lion out. With the context of the Luther novel, the Lion novel. I know they don't touch much on the Fall of Caliban in either of those books itself, but it gives them a chance to write the Primarchs out. They could even write the death of Guilliman in if they wanted to. Like, each of the remaining loyalist
they
Primarchs...
won't do that. They won't do that purely because they did that in the first Dark Imperium book.
Well, okay, yeah, they did. Fair point. But they have to write these guys out, and this seems to be the series that sets up how did the Imperium go from Heresy era Imperium, where it was the Emperor, the Primarchs, the Sigillite, etc., to the modern Imperium that went into the War of the Beast in M32-ish. So how do we get there? How does the Codex Reformation go about? And we know roughly how the other Primarchs reacted, but how does that confrontation between Dawn and Guilliman, who seem to be arguing here, actually go down? How does it shake out? How does Russ respond? How does Russ disappear? Why does Russ disappear? What happens to Khan? What happens to everybody? It gives them a chance to write a fully fledged epilogue to the Horus Heresy properly, because the End of the Death was already too fucking long. And actually write this out and set this up, and I think that that's worthy of their time to do, and I'm interested to see what they do with it. I want to see the Fall of Caliban novelized, and this is probably the series where they're going to do it.
Hopefully.
I say that as not a Dark Angels fan either, by the way. Like, the Iron Cage, I agree, but the Codex Reform, the disappearance of the Lion, the disappearance of Khan, Vulcan, and Russ as well. There's a lot of ground that they have to cover, and also, the traitors. The traitors we know ran for the eye, but are we going to see a little bit more about how the traitor legions fell apart, reformed, etc.? You know what I mean? They've got scope to do something. I just think they need to be careful in how many books they do.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what they did do. They're doing a whole bunch of Space Marine special characters.
Captains this is out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cool.
Yeah, so starting things off, if I can get the picture the fucking paste, fucking computer, fuck's sake. Vulcan Heshtan.
Vulcan brackets Hestan lives, thump thump, etc.
Yes. a nice update to his design. I love the little file on his base.
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten how bright green Salamander's armor was.
We're also getting a new model for Darnif Lysander.
Yeah, should also note that Vulcan has not found, Hestan has not found a single relic in 2,000 years, because he's still got the same ones. So
yep.
He's trying his best.
The biggest surprise, the Raven Guard now have a new chapter master.
Yeah, because people saw this and went, shit, Shrike's dead. No, he isn't.
He just stepped down.
Yeah, Shrike stepped down, and I genuinely don't remember a time we've ever seen that happen.
No.
I will say, someone that generally doesn't care about Space Marines, the Raven Guard one, that's a nice mini.
It is. To be honest, I think the reason why I went, yeah, this guy's chapter master now is because they realised, yeah, the Primaris Shrike model is a bit shit. And this one looks so much nicer.
And I like the jetpack as well. Like, that doesn't look like... we've seen the new Assault Intercessors, but that doesn't look like a standard jump pack at all.
No.
To me. Or maybe it does, I don't know.
I love his face also. I love how he's also got little robot raven cherubs.
Yes.
The guns with wings crack me up really bad. Like, those are so silly looking.
Yeah. Sticking with Lysander for a second, you'd be forgiven for not realising that they'd redone Lysander because he almost looks exactly the fucking same.
He just gave him a tactical rock.
He's got a tactical rock and he's now shouting. That's literally all they've done to him, it feels like. But we're still not done, because Karnok Var for the Iron Hands from Clan Avernii.
Who is so robotic that only Isaiah's left.
Like, sure. I mean, Iron Hand's got an Iron Hand. Also, he's in Terminator Armor too. I think that's good because, tanky character. And I can't believe we're having to say this. We got a white scar on a bike.
A jet bike, no
less. A jet bike, no less.
It's so funny if it's just a regular bike.
It's a jet bike with a power lance and... Well, it's a grav bike, not a jet bike, sorry. It's got an Onslaught Gatling cannon and a power lance. And it looks like they looked at the custodian jet bikes and went, can we have one, please? And the custodian's like, you can have, the Mark 1 before we realised how curves work. Have this fucking trash.
I'm just thinking, are the bull bars really necessary?
Yes, for ramming speed.
Yeah, bikes generally aren't too good for ramming things, though.
Yes, but he's got a power lance. He's going to have to, pretty much.
You don't ram something on horseback if you've got a lance. You basically side on, you skewer. You don't go front. You don't go front into a brick wall.
He's a space marine. He doesn't know how to miss. He just goes straight through the enemy. It's what they do. But yes, you are right. So yes, he was a captain for 2 centuries. Now leads the Spearpoint Brotherhood. Forgive me if I don't know what that is. I don't know my White Scars law very well.
It's one of the companies, I believe.
But no, he does say ploughing through their lines at lightning speed. So I will down this hill that it's for ramming. But they've also done combat patrols for each one, if you really want. So this is how you can get Adrax Agatone and a squad of 2 squads of Infernus Marines and a squad of Eradicators and an Outrider with, an Invader with a Multi-Melter. That is so Salamanders. Good. Then Imperial Fists get Basic Intercessors, Terminators, a Command Squad. I don't think they get a named character. That's not Torgaradon. So I don't know. I don't know why they've done that. It doesn't seem to be a character. That's a 5-man command squad. I thought they needed a 6th. Oh no! Wait! I'm dumb. No, I'm even dumber. I don't actually know where the hero is. Never mind. I'm stupid. The Raven Guard get an Invicta warsuit with jump packs and infiltrators. Makes sense. And the Iron Hands get basic heavy intercessors, a Tech Marine, and 2 turrets.
2
God,
Tech
they phoned that. They phoned that one in.
Actually, they got 2 Tech Marines and an Iron Father. Because look at the colours of the armour on the turrets. It's red. Yeah. So they technically got 3 Tech Marines.
Yeah, if you're being technical about it. The White Scars one is also where you get Sugdon Khan, the new guy. Subodin Khan, alongside 5 Assault Intercessors in an Impulsor and 3 Outriders. So, yeah, cool.
I'll tell you what is cool, though. We're finally getting a wearable Space Marine helmet. It's better than that one that's just big enough for a cat that costs like $100 from Weta Workshop.
Yeah.
At least this one you can actually wear. At least they actually want, more or less one-to-one scale. You can actually wear this one.
Yes, adjustable headband, fancy stand, inbuilt electronics. Thank you, Joy Toy. This, I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me at all.
Well, you're a tile player. That's probably why.
Well, for those that want something like that, congrats.
And sticking with Space Marines, we got a new kill team, Tomb World.
Yes, Death Watch. We were right about Death Watch, and they're also doing another Necron kill team. And actually, you know what? I like Death Watch as a mini range, even though they're buried in Imperial Agents with just one unit and the flyer. But they've done a really good job with this Death Watch kill team of giving them loads of options. You only take 5 in games of kill team, but you get 11 minis in the box. So Watch Sergeant, a Bombard who's got some sort of unique heavy bolter variant or grenade launcher. I'm not even sure what that is because that's not a heavy bolter.
I'm trying to guess the chapters because the Watch Sergeant I'm guessing is White Scar from the white shoulder pad that looks like a red lightning bolt.
The Bombard is a Flesh Terror, I think.
The Gunner, I can't tell because the badge is obscured, but the Breach is an Imperial Fist, blatantly.
Yeah.
Horslayer, Salamander, Head Taker's a Raptor. Marksman, I can't tell because it's obscured. The Aegis, I think that's a Red Scorpion.
Could well be. I mean, it's cool that they've just, got a shield and mace guy in there. I think it's cool. And, I mean, the Head Taker Raptor is just a Reaver, but it's still cool. The Horde Slayer with a proper combi flamer. We don't see combi weapons enough.
It's a combi heavy bolter, heavy flamer.
Yeah, it's really cool. The Demolisher is...
A Wolf Spear.
Wolf Spear, that's it. I was trying to remember the name then. With a Thunder Hammer, of course.
Oh my
Disruptor,
god,
I think...
I just realised. Right, look at the Demolisher's face, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen Planet of the Apes? Like the original?
Yes, once.
Help me, Dr. Zaius. It's Dr. Zaius!
Bloody hell.
Dr. Zaius.
Bloody hell.
I'm going to bring up a picture just saying, yeah, it actually pretty much is. Because tell me it doesn't look like that.
I think every Space Wolf player now hates you.
That's fine, because this is a Wolf Spear, so therefore don't
You know what I mean. The Disruptor is an Ultramarine with a fancy-ass backpack.
Blade Master is something with crossed swords.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's something that... Oh no, never mind, that's just Inquisitorial, not anything else on the wings. Yeah, with a Catan face, well, not Catan, a phase sword, which I think is cool. But it does say there are loads of shoulder pads. I don't think these are the only ones they're doing, not even close.
I think I know what it is. I think it's Sable Swords.
That's a niche pick, GW. Not complaining, but niche pick.
Yeah, looking at the chapter symbol, black shoulder pad with crossed swords. Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's Sable Swords.
I think you're right. Yeah, the way not sure about the handles. The handle looks different, but that could just be just sculpt versus drawing.
Or the angle.
Either way, though, it's very much a Death Watch kill team, but it incorporates all the aspects of Primaris quite nicely. And they're not just Space Marines; they've got loads of extra comms equipment. Scanners, special bits of kit knocking around. They don't feel like an intercessor squad with fancy shoulder pads, which some Death Watch kits can feel just like this is just a shoulder pad upgrade screw and just a random mix of kit, models from a single kit. This actually feels unique and like a proper inquisitorial team, so I give them credit for that. It looks good. On the other hand, though, you've got Necrons with the Geomancer, a new crypt tech, which I think looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Alongside a bunch of Canoptech servants, the Accelerator, the Reanimator, and Tomb Crawlers, who basically said Tomb Spiders but Didier.
So if they're dangerous, why friend-shaped?
God.
They are basically
they've-
just robot spider puppies.
They are kind of cute in a like
They are
gonna disavow you kind of way, but yeah.
More like banish you to another dimension in the case of these weapons.
We'll say the terrain on this set turned out really nice.
It definitely gives Zone Mortalis vibes. Sorry, I always come back to how cool Zone Mortalis is, and they never seem to want to do it again. Boarding actions doesn't count. But it does feel like they made a real...
It's great.
Agreed.
I love the fact that you can got like little teleport gateways or all the force field doors.
Yeah, it actually does say they've gone back to close quarters gameplay from the same as Into the Dark when they were on the ship. So they are at least trying to make them feel more like it's an underground complex, like sealed entrances and corridors and all that. So they are going to make an effort with that too.
It's fantastic. Probably the best bit of terrain Kill Team's had in a long time.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job with them. Like I say, I think they're not going to win any prizes. I don't think they're going to be winning Mini of the Year. Cough, cough. Hashut, cough, cough, Votann. But they are good minis, and they really serve to flesh out the kill teams and the armies to which they belong. So they've done their job.
Yes. And I believe that is it for the big summer preview stuff.
It took us an hour.
It only took us an hour, but we're still not done because we've still got more shit to get through.
But not a lot.
No.
We've just got a little bit of Necromunda.
Yes. So, firstly, considering that we talked about the Power Knight Enforcers last episode, there's some more. The Power Knight Companions.
Yeah, these are just bodyguards for fancy uphivers who go knocking around in the Underhive. Yeah, and they have...
Disintegration guns.
Yes, the very same ones from the Horus Heresy. So, yeah, they've got Heresy-era Astartes guns, fancy trench coats, and extreme psycho-indoctrination.
Well, they're going to need those guns, considering what else came out of Necromunda this week. The new Hellamite Swarmers, which is basically what you see around every single bin in the park in a British summertime.
Big bugs!
God. So yes, these are the Ashwing Hellamites, used as guard creatures, and they're actually less docile than the mount ones. You literally have to sort of throw lures to drive them from one place to another, and you get 2 in the box and then a lure token as well, and you can mark out one of your guys as their handler, as it were. So one of your nomads has to be upgraded to a handler to make sure you can actually use these guys, because they're too unpredictable to use in your regular gang.
Yeah.
Which is a neat touch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's about it in terms of minis and reveals. I appreciate we have had 3 weeks worth of stuff to cover, although we spent it all on one preview. Shh. It's fine.
It
Right.
was a big preview.
It was. Speaking of big, I'll try not to take too much time on it because it's been a few weeks since I finished it. But I read the Dawn of Fire Book 8.
Which one was that?
I've forgotten its name now.
Hand of Abaddon?
Hand of Abaddon. Hand of Abaddon, yeah. I haven't got as far as Silent King yet, but I have read Hand of Abaddon.
Do we need to put up spoilers at all?
I
shouldn't think so, because in the book after has already been released, so...
Yeah, I think we're all right.
Okay.
So, it's been a while since I read it, but I also sent notes to Remleiz in DMs just so I could keep track of some shit I really, really wanted to talk about. Because this is the book that sort of piles together a lot of things from the previous Dawn of Fire books. If anything, this feels like the book that ties the previous 7 together, much more than Silent King does. I think Silent King is set in the cage stage for the next bit. This is the one that ties off a lot of the characters we know. So, basic premise is this. Inquisitor Rostov, from book 1, is on the hunt for the Hand of Abaddon, and liaises with Inquisitor Greyfax to go and get them, the individual. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Magdakesh, the Mordian from book 2, who also is the sole survivor of book 5, is back with the Mordians and on crusade as part of the Adeptus crusade as before. However, remember, she has survived some. She really, 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 really should not be walking off. And also has been given stuff by the Sisters of Silence, or a Sister of Silence, who is a bit of a sort of, not rogue, sort of dishonoured within the Silent Sisterhood, and is actually attached to Rostov for the duration of his campaign, alongside some other people. We'll come back to them later. At the same time, you've got, well, to be fair, the Space Marines don't actually do that much in this book, but we meet Ferran Areos again, who is at the time leading as a lieutenant in the Ultramarines on campaign in the Indomitus Crusaders before. We've got Katja Helvinter from book 4, who is coming back around in a minute. And we also have to deal with the Chaos Cult from Githalamore in book 2, and particularly the Acolyte of the Sorcerer Tenebrous. I have completely forgotten her name. That's a problem. I have completely forgotten her name. Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh. It's bothering me now. Also there's some Red Corsairs from, I want to say, book 4. The guys who killed the Black Templars.
Right.
So they're knocking about as well. And then we've got the Hand of Abaddon itself, which is 8 people. We get to meet all of them. And none of them are people you've heard of. There's Tenebrous, who we know from book 2. And then there's just a bunch of guys, 4 representing the 4 Chaos Gods, 1 representing Vashtor of sorts, sort of a more demonic shape-shifting entity, and then another one who is sort of an Iron Warrior, basically. They're not representing the Forge of Souls, but they are there. So, I'm really going to have to whip this through, because I read it 5 weeks ago, and some of it's gone out of my brain, so I'll give you the cliff notes.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Kesh solos a Chaos Space Marine using their own chainsword.
Nice.
Because basically divine bullshit.
Of course.
And I mean that divine part most especially. Come back to that. The Hand of Abaddon has everything it needs to forge the shards of the Athame together to make the Anathame.
Mm-hmm.
And the book opens with them actually implanting someone with the shards, almost like a sacrifice. That person turns out to be Herek of the Red Corsairs, the guy who has been following around since book 4, who kills his way through Mechanicus, Votann, mostly Mechanicus, actually, and then goes on a sort of doomed crusade into the warp to the Forge of Souls itself,
right,
in order to have the Anathame reforged at the Forge of Souls. This seems to be the implication. So the Anathame's back on the table.
Right.
And that Anathame, which he nicknames the colour because he knows no fucking better, is immediately taken by the Acolyte of Tenebrous, who, as I say, whose name has completely gone out of my flipping head, because she is basically taken under the wing. And this happened in another book, and I've forgotten which book it was. She's basically... The Hand of Abaddon lives on a Blackstone fortress, okay? And she's seen into it, like, into the heart of the station kind of thing, and it wants her. This corrupted, twisted, chaotic entity known as Augury, who sort of almost represents the soul of the fortress, kind of, but it doesn't, wants her. And it shifts around to allow her to become this champion, as it were. She kills Tenebrous, she dismantles part of the Hand of Abaddon, and nearly sets the Blackstone Fortress to be destroyed, as she fails at this. But she doesn't set it, more like she just tries to kill the guy trying to steal its life force. And then she escapes through the power of the 8th of the Hand, Augury, the shifty, shadowy one I mentioned earlier, and she gets the Anathame.
Right.
So we've got a Chaos Cultist on crack carrying the Anathame,
Mm-hmm.
basically. I'm really having to condense. Magdakesh and Farron Arrayos and Rostov and Katya Helvinter and basically all the Imperials we've got to know are drafted into an assault on this Blackstone fortress. They don't really know it's there until it turns up because it keeps phasing in and out of reality, but it is there, all right. And they fight their way through the defenses on the outside. It's got like ultra mega powerful Nova cannon type things that can just shred a battleship in one shot, kind of thing. But they get on board. They're usually boarding parties and all this. It's laced with traps, loads of traitor marines. One of the Hand of Abaddon is killed by Arrayos. The Khorne one is killed by Arrayos. And the Nurgle one is killed by Kesh,
Right.
a guardswoman.
Ah.
Or should that be a living saint?
Oh.
Yeah, she goes full saint mode.
Well then.
Like, literally, like, glow, wings, sword, all of the 9 yards of what a living saint is. And she basically just overpowers these corrupting plagues of the Nurgle guy and has him on toast. But the power goes away afterwards, which is weird.
Right.
Like, she doesn't keep her saintly visage afterwards. It's sort of like a temporary sainthood for the purposes of winning. I don't get it. I've never seen a saint's power disappear again. Like, she's revered as a saint by everybody afterwards, but her powers seem to go away.
Right.
Yeah, weird, I know. I'm not sure quite what the logic is there, but I suppose it also prevents her overshadowing everything. But yeah, she's a saint. Or she was possessed by the Emperor for a bit, because they keep hinting at Star Child theory being a thing, and I think they genuinely are setting up Star Child to be a thing, because they talked about it quite a lot in book 4, I think it was. I think they actually want to do it. I think they're going to go Star Child. That was one of the segments I think I sent you, Rem, just to remind myself that it was a thing. They're still talking about Star Child theory. And yeah, a new power rising that hadn't been seen in 10,000 years, which seems to hint at the Star Child.
Yeah.
Laughs in new Grey Knight Codex.
Me and Rem were deciding whether we were going to talk about this. We'll come back to that if we get time.
Yeah.
Because, oh my god.
I doubt we'll have time, but we'll see.
Also, we learn that Sisters of Silence basically can mask their pariah genes using limiter cuffs that they can turn off and on to do torture to psychers. Like, it pretty much blasts a guy's head open, but nearly kills a full-on Inquisitor outright when she turns it off. Like, it puts this Inquisitor Rostov into the fetal position, crying because of the pain.
Oh, Jesus.
Because she just modifies this cuff on her wrist, almost like a blank slider, and it's kind of weird. But yeah, slightly mental.
Sounds it, yeah.
Yeah, so all the Imperials in the Blackstone Fortress, most of the Hand of Abaddon die. Well, I say most, about half of the Hand of Abaddon die, and the others coalesce together later elsewhere, almost like the witches in Macbeth, saying, we shall have to rebuild and start again, and all this yada yada bollocks. So what you need to know coming out of this book is the anathema is back on the table and in play, being carried around by a touched by the gods chaos cultist who's seen visions of the Horus Heresy itself and basically has a buddy who could manipulate a Blackstone fortress at will, or was bonded or was part of a Blackstone fortress. I don't know which way you class it, depending on how you refer to what's called as augury. Magdakesh is a living saint, but maybe not all the time. And yeah, that's the main thing. The anathema is back in play canonically, and I'm curious in Silent King whether this cultist is going to get a shot at Guilliman, because the whole conflict's about him and the Silent King. But are we actually going to see Guilliman have to deal with the sword that killed Horus? I'm curious.
I'm going to say no, purely because Games Workshop likes to set up plot points and never follow up on them.
Yeah, but it's the anathema, man. They've left themselves a book to go in the series. They've put the anathema back in play, and
It reminds me of whenever like Graham McNeil set up plot points in Horus Heresy, and like you'd have an author immediately afterwards go no. Like do you remember how in A Thousand Suns, like before the Space Wars attacked, oh, we're gonna send off a whole bunch of Thousand Suns, to tease the Blood Raven thing, and then Chris Wright turned around and said, no, they came back to Prospero and the World Eaters killed them. Or Fury of Magnus. Oh, the Emperor offered Magnus a new legion. Then Aaron Dembski Bowman went, no, Vulcan says that was all a dream.
Sadly, yes.
So the Anathema's set up, but it's going to be like next book. It's like, no, it got broken between books. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if that happened.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Tharador Yang. That was her name. Tharador Yang. That's the woman calling carrying the anathema. She's a occultist sorceress, and she's got the anathema and has a new one of the Hand of Abaddon in her corner, as it were.
Right, gotcha.
Sorry for forgetting that one.
No,
also, there are Votann in this. The Votann, basically, their plot conveniences, they accidentally capture a prisoner who knows about the Hand of Abaddon. So Rostov goes to see them. They do some standard negotiating, and I do mean that actually not sarcastically, because the Votann don't care about the Inquisition.
I'll give you a prisoner if you can beat us in a drinking contest or something.
Oh no, more, we need fuel, we need supplies, we want X, Y, Z in return.
Beer.
And then they wander off to go and get the plunder of their lifetime, which turns out to be the Blackstone Fortress, and it nearly kills them. Then Rostov turns up, and it nearly kills them. So they work together alongside the rest of the arriving Imperial fleet, and it nearly kills them again, but they get on board. And then the Animus sort of goes out. The Blackstone Fortress is dead, effectively, after Yang and Augury leave.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot. I really am condensing this massive book with a huge amount of moving parts, but for once, considering it had the Inquisitorial plotline, the Kesh plotline, 2 Chaos plotlines, the Space Marine plotline, and the Votann, it actually does a substantial job of rolling all of those plotlines together into one place. Much better than book 1 did, but more like book 2 kind of does, where you've got the 2 sides and all the factions within those 2 sides, and they end up in either 1 or 2 places at the end. You've got the Red Corsair plotline seems completely pointless until right at the end when you realise that Herrick is carrying the shards of the Anathema, which is a really neat payoff to why he's doing everything he's doing. He doesn't really realise to start with, but then he does, and it kind of works out. Yang's storyline going from humble chaos cultist in the shadow of a sorcerer to the god's chosen one to kill a god, I think is a great plot arc that anyone in chaos can make it if they get lucky. And the Imperial plot threads pretty quickly come together. Excuse me. So Rostov meets the Votann, that gets them together. Helvinter is dropped in halfway through. Kesh and Areos both are doing separate campaigns that show the crusade is still ongoing, and then both of them are drafted in by Rostov, effectively, Messinius / Rostov / Potluck, to end up all in the same place for the Blackstone Fortress battle. So it does come together quite nicely. Fair play, Nick Kine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I really have had to condense, and I apologise, but I'm also conscious of the clock because of how long we talked about that preview. I will get Silent King at some point, and I will read it. For some reason, I think Hand of Abaddon interested, but I feel like they paid off so many plot threads that there's only sort of 2 or 3 questions I have going into Silent King. One is, will the Silent King and Guilliman fight, or will they talk, or both? 2 is, where is the Star Child theory going? And 3, will the Anathema show up? That's about it. Everything else I feel is at a quite sensible point where they've left it off. Kesh's Saint thing is a bit odd, but I think, if she becomes sort of the avatar of the Star Child, then I'm all right with that being the route they want for her. I just want to know, are they going down Star Child theory? Are they going down the Anathema, trying to kill Guilliman? And are Cesarek and Guilliman going to fight, talk, or both?
The cynic in me says no.
The worry in me says no too.
You tired, perchance?
I don't even know why. I do know why. Been up since 5:30, and it's now nearly 9:30.
You got to sleep in that late, did you?
A lot of things going on.
16 hours, and when you're on summer holidays, so you're both at home with the toddler all day, and they never stop, and they don't really. No, they did now, but yeah, kids are tiring, especially when they wake up at 5:30 in the morning every day in the school holidays, and you just want to lie in, but you can't have a lie in.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's fine. It's all what we signed up for, eh? When we became parents, it's what we signed up for.
I suppose so.
Anyway, yes, that's Hand of Abaddon. Despite my yawning, it wasn't boring. I blitzed through it. It was very good.
Fair enough. What about you, Seth? Have you been reading anything?
Mostly I have been rereading the Queen Headtaker novel for reasons. And I've also been working my way back through some end time stuff. So I was plucking through End Times Thankful yesterday to check out some stuff about Lord Skrulk and like some of the groups that are around him. But just kind of been dropping in, just grabbing bits and pieces from various books. I was doing a lot of reading on Warhammer Fantasy Unicorns the other day, so going through like the Storm of Magic and the some of the old novels. And then, actually, the big thing I've been doing is I've been researching the history of the Elven gods, which has been a bit of a journey, because I've had to go all the way back to 2nd edition Warhammer Fantasy. And then I've been kind of like working my way forward to put together like a big board of all the information about them, because I am trying to solve a particular small handful of conundrums that got introduced by some writers making some unfortunate choices, and it has led down a rabbit hole that has resulted in me having to read like everything I can find, which has been it's been enjoyable, though it's probably the one and only time I would say that I'm also kind of being forced to dip into some 40k stuff as well, because the elf gods, so much of it relied heavily in like the 90s and early 2000s. There was a lot of back and forth between the 40k setting and the fantasy setting when it came to the elf gods versus the Eldari gods. So there was because they borrowed a lot from each other, which was
they have the same names: Vol, Cain, Isha, etc. They all they're the same. Almost like the Chaos Gods, they're the same entity. Well, effectively,
if you go by Liber Chaotica, then yeah, they are the same entities.
Yeah, eventually they do split, where they become like radically different. Other than like they have the same core group, but they start getting like their own unique individuals later. Because fantasy introduces just like a lot more, because they introduce the Elenili, which are the children of the god of destruction, which adds in like a whole bunch of other gods. But it's been a pretty interesting set of research about how they've kind of reflected back on one another, of that like Warhammer Fantasy has its own version of the War in Heaven, but because Necrons don't exist in fantasy, instead of the War in Heaven being,
I was going to say, like, if you go by that Blood Bowl story where you had, like, the teams actually appear in the middle of a fight between Necrons and Nids. It's like,
Well, Blood Bowl is the funniest multiverse because it just doesn't care. So it can do literally whatever it wants, and everything is fine. But in fantasy, they changed it to being more of like, it's a civil war for the elf gods, followed up by that's then followed by the war against the chaos gods. And it's interesting to try and parse it all out, because it's not written down anywhere super smoothly. Like, you'd think that they would have like a nice compact version of it, but that's not the case. It's like scattered in a bunch of really weird fragments.
Because I'm fairly sure in 40k there was like three wars in heaven. Free war in heavens, whatever the term is, how you pluralize that. Because there was the one that was introduced in 3rd edition, which was like, the old ones versus the Necrons. And then there was like the Civil War with like Kane's side against Vol's side, and then you had the version with like Slaanesh being involved. It's like, oh, how can you come up with a new fucking name rather than just a War in Heaven? It's like, just call it War in Heaven 1, War in Heaven 2, War in Heaven 3, or something.
Yeah, GW having to make original terms? No, we don't do that here.
The War in Heaven, the Conflict in Heaven, and the Colossal Tussle in Heaven.
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
But so that's the big thing I've been doing, is getting through all that and trying to suss out some various fixes, because every once in a while, if I make enough of a fuss about something, it can actually lead to things getting fixed. And the elf gods are just kind of the big thing that's in my crosshairs at the moment.
And this is when you find out, it's like, oh, so Kurnos and Kurnoth are different people. Huh.
I'm not even touching Age of Sigmar. I am leaving that mess alone for the moment, because I would say they are the same, but it gets really weird really fast.
It's a Malekith Malarian situation, isn't it?
That's probably what it is. But I don't know why they necessarily bother changing the name, because I don't think Kurnos refers to anything else in particular. But they also, I think I know why they got rid of it. They didn't want to take really any of the elf gods as active into AOS. That seemed to be something they were like explicitly kind of allergic to in the early editions. Was they wanted the elf gods to be dead, like completely. Like, if you go back and read 2nd edition and 1st edition, which were really heavy into it, they go super out of their way to say the elf gods are completely, utterly dead. They are irredeemably, beyond a shadow of a doubt, deceased.
Just like in 40k.
Yeah, and then 3rd edition came around and said, but what if they weren't? And has slowly been resurrecting them. And that's continued into 4th edition. So now we've got this thing where they're starting to come back, and it's not like it's a piece of them. Like the gods themselves are coming. The elf gods are full on coming back to life. Is one of the background narratives. So clearly GW's gone through some kind of internal shift about how they feel about them. And it'll be interesting to see how the ramifications for that play out, because they just brought Morai Heg back. Is the most recent one that's returned. Kurnos,
with Daughters of Cain.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kurnos, aka Kurnoth, is going to return maybe in 4th edition. I mean, he just got that new set of minis again, and that's one of the big lingering.
Years.
Yeah, it's been one of the big lingering storylines, is that Alariel wants to revive him, because he died during the Age of Chaos, like near the end of the Age of Chaos. He got killed by Nurgle.
Yeah, because Gyron was basically completely overrun before Sigmar got his ass in gear.
Yeah, so I highly suspect that he'll return. But at the end of 3rd edition, we got his... We sort of got his avatar, but it was really weird, because instead of his avatar being a Kurnothi, he's a Sylvaneth, which is a choice. Because it's like, shouldn't the avatar of Kurnoth be one of the Kurnothi? And they were like, eh! So I don't know what's going on with that, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, which mini? I know exactly which mini you mean. I can't remember what it looks like.
It's the what's his name's like Bell something. Belhathor, maybe. That sounds right. Hold on, let me look it up.
Belthanos, yeah.
Yeah, Belthanos, yeah. So he's currently kind of, because he wields Kurnoth's spear. And I don't understand what they're doing with that storyline right now. And we're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with that.
How long do you reckon it will be before they start introducing Iniad into Age of Sigmar?
Any what?
If they introduce Iniad.
The Eldari god of the dead who will kill Slaanesh one day.
No, I believe they are. I actually think that GW is significantly more. Though they put out a funny White Dwarf article about the Chaos Gods that I'm still waiting for my copy to show up so I can read it. But I think GW kind of officially hit a point somewhere in like the late aughts, where they were like, we don't want 40k and fantasy touching each other anymore.
And yet they completely rescinded that back in 2018. Because like they actually put in White Dwarf, like, hey, if Slaanesh was created by the Eldari, how can they exist in Age of Sigmar / fantasy? And it actually had that answered in the Ask Grombrindle section. Hang on, I'll post the thing.
Same god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just put out. Didn't they put out a recent article in the Chaos Gods where they were talking about the multiverse? Or I couldn't tell if someone was referencing an old article with that, or if it was in one of the new books. Because I know they've been doing like a focus on each of the dark gods, in the last like 4, and I think they just finished it or about to finish it.
I don't know. I've not read the recent White Dwarfs, but I've just posted that thing from 2018's White Dwarf, the June 2018 one.
Yeah, the basic idea of, once Slaanesh turned up, Slaanesh could go and do whatever they wanted, where and whenever they wanted. Although it does, the way Grombrindal puts it basically implies that AOS takes place after. It doesn't. I know the Chaos Gods are timeless beings that span across all of time. It's just the almost sort of way they say it is that almost like afterwards, after Slaanesh was created, they went everywhere, and that included the mortal realms, implying that the mortal realms didn't come into existence until after the until M31. But that's obviously not true, and that's complete rubbish because the Chaos Gods have always never existed at once. They're Schrodinger's deities.
I appreciate DW's stance on this, but they do such an ass backward way of explaining it that it's like it's basically useless.
It doesn't help when you go in instances like in the Indrasta novel, we had Doombreed show up, who was confirmed to have been a Terran, before he ascended to demonhood, and Queethel, the Skaven demon prince, he showed up and ended in a death.
Oh yeah, well, God, dude, Black Library authors are the worst about that. They like to bring up stuff, and then if you try and talk to the head studio about it, they're like, no.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. Ignore that.
Yeah, we know of a few authors who've run afoul of writing things they shouldn't have, but we won't name names or give examples.
Yeah, I always hold Black Library novels at arm's length, with love, but always at arm's length.
I think probably the most hilarious one that really triggered Old World fans before Old World came back was Lord Imperator Cetrus.
Yeah.
Stormcast.
Who was very obviously Cetra the Imperishable, and then the head studio was like, no.
Yeah, because we had David Geimer on. We actually asked him about that. He said, I wanted it to be Cetra, but Black Library told me no. It's just I wanted Ikrit Claw to be Ikrit Claw, but they told me no.
I love David Geimer because I think he has a really nice appreciation for especially in old AOS when the vibes were not great between AOS and fantasy communities at all in any pocket. He did so much work in branching them back together.
Hello, Hamilcar.
And I will always give him mad respect and props for that.
David Geimer is a nice guy and a really good author. I struggle to think of a novel of his that missed. And to be fair, there's not many. Almost every author will have a miss at some point in their career, and that's completely fine. Not everyone's going to like everything you write, but I can't think of a David Gaiman miss off the top of my head.
Yeah,
his that's the one that comes to my mind purely because
Storm of Iron. I enjoyed Storm of Iron.
Not Storm of Iron. I Am Medusa. Sorry, I Am Medusa, the Iron Hand one, because the first print of I Am Medusa was riddled with so many spelling errors, like Ferrus Mans being called Ferrus Phenos. Or something stupid like that.
That's called having a bad proofreader. That's not a bad book. That's bad proofreading.
No, but it made it so difficult to follow. It's I can't read this fucking book.
Yeah, the only book he's written that I've heard a lot of criticism about, but I haven't read it myself yet. I need to. Is The Court of the Blind King. I heard Idneth fans didn't like it.
Oh, The Court of the Blind King was fucking amazing.
I heard.
I've read it 3 times. It's that good. I've read it 3 times.
Yeah. What can you do?
But maybe I am just so elf-pilled when it comes to Sigmar literature. I've read both Lumineth novels. I've read most of Daughters of Cain. I've read the Idneth novel. I am so in on all of it, and it felt like an Idneth story that would actually happen. It felt like it fit within their lore. So I'm really, you know what?
It's
it
on
hit for me.
it's on my shelf. I need to sit down and read it because
Yes, do that.
yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, but I don't. Oh, Rem, you've read a lot more than me. Is there an author for you who has never missed? I mean, ADB comes to mind, but
William King.
yeah, Bill King doesn't miss.
Yeah, he was the goat.
He was.
Space Wolves, Macarius.
Gotrek and
That's
Felix.
just the two.
Gotrek and Felix,
Yeah.
man. Oh, dude.
Yeah, I've only read the modern Gotrek, and if modern Gotrek is even half as good as old Gotrek was, then bloody hell, old Gotrek was good.
Yeah, it was a little different.
That was David Geimer as well, by the way.
Yeah, David Geimer does modern Gotrek, or did modern Gotrek.
I thought it was
think
Darius
did.
Hinks.
Darius Hinks took it over at Soul Slayer.
Yeah,
Right.
It's been handed over to Darius.
Right.
Yeah,
Bill King
David
never
Geimer
missed.
got the horrifying job of being handed Gotrek and Felix and then being told he had to finish it for the end times. Which, like, oh, what a horrifying job to get. But I think he did a good job.
Mm.
Agreed. And he did a good job bringing him back as well.
Yes. Yeah, I love
Sigmar.
AOS Gotrek series. David Geimer's trilogy is amazing.
Agreed. And Darius really carried it on very well. ADB, I can't think of an ADB miss off the top of my head. Like, I know not probably everyone was on board with Spear of the Emperor, but like literally my local library has Double Eagle on the shelf. I know that's Dan Abnett, but like those two, Abnett and ADB, I cannot think of either of them missing at any point. Although that might just be biased because they're just renowned. And I'm gonna stick my neck out because I know I am in a probably quite small minority. Phil Kelly.
I don't. I'd have to look at all of.
Phil Kelly.
I don't know all of their bibliography, but they wrote New Tau. They are the definitive author of New Tau. Apart from like one or two novels, they've written all the New Tau.
Particularly the Farsight books.
I have a very deep love for C.L. Werner's fantasy books as well.
Sorry, going back to Bill King for a second. Do you know he wrote an Age of Sigmar story?
No.
Yeah.
Fist of an Angry God.
Yeah, he wrote a short story.
Missed it.
Well, it's only $1.99 off Black Library, so.
Yeah, I must not have been in one of the anthologies I got. Yeah, I've not. Did C.L. Werner do much 40k stuff? Since you mentioned him,
I have no idea. I only know his fantasy stuff.
I'm mainly asking Rem, if I'm honest.
The name rings a bell. I'm pretty sure he has, but I can't find his. I'm trying to figure out how you spell his name.
CLWERNER.
Okay.
See, he wrote Reflections in. Oh no, that's AOS. Sagas of the Space Wolves. He contributed. I think that's a.
Oh, Siege of Castellax. He wrote Siege of Castellax. That was great. Oh, and Lady of Sorrows, the Lady Olinda novel. Wasn't my favourite, but it was good.
Funny enough, when you search for him on Black Library's website, it comes with Graham McNeil stuff and Christian Dunn for some reason.
He wrote,
he wrote Cult of the War Mason.
Yeah, Cult of the War Mason seems to be his.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah. Yeah,
he didn't do a lot of 40k novels. It seems like he mostly did short stories for 40k.
Yeah, but Siege of Castellax, I remember that being very, very good.
He wrote a bonkers amount of stuff for fantasy, and almost everything he wrote for fantasy is like really, really good.
Oh, he did Cursed City and Lady of Sorrows.
Yeah, but he also wrote Grey Seer and Witch Hunter and a lot of those classic fantasy novels.
Omnibuy, yeah. Like, he wrote entire series. He wrote a lot of...
he wrote Thanquol stuff, didn't he?
He wrote all of Thanquol stuff. He wrote the entire Black Plague trilogy. He wrote the entire...
he wrote the Malice Darkblade novel.
The War of Vengeance trilogy. He wrote the Wulfric novel. He wrote...
2 books in the Realm Gate Wars.
He wrote Bruno the Bounty Hunter, which is an older series, but it holds up so well. Bruno the Bounty Hunter is amazing.
Oh, sorry, I may need to take back my Phil Kelly comment because he wrote War of Secrets. Never mind.
Never mind.
Sigh. But yeah, there are just some authors who very, very rarely miss. But it's amazing when you actually stop and look at how much people contribute to different things that you don't remember them for. Like, if I just take ADB for just an example, First Heretic, Hell's Reach, Master of Mankind, Soul Hunter, Betrayer, Black Legion, all the other Night Lord stuff, Spear of the Emperor, Emperor's Gift, Echoes of Eternity, Butcher's Nails, Cadian Blood, Ragnar Blackmane, the Sons of the Emperor anthologies in. He contributed to a Death Watch thing in 2019. Honor Imperialis. I've never even heard of that before.
Oh, but how can we forget the GOAT, the absolute GOAT, Ian Watson?
Ram.
Yes.
No.
What, you mean you don't want to read a story about how someone eats their own shit?
Ram.
Well, he never wrote a fantasy novel, so I don't care.
That's enough. That's enough.
I'm still annoyed they got rid of the Blood Bowl stuff from Black Library. I'm annoyed about that.
Yeah, it didn't take up a lot of space. They could have just let it have its own little section. I think they get embarrassed of Blood Bowl lore from time to time.
They should embrace the stupidity because Warhammer is inherently stupid by its very nature.
They should. Blood Bowl is the one true setting. Like, that knows how dumb it is.
Praise Nuffle.
Nuffle is truly the most powerful god. Because he's the god of dice.
Oh dear. Right, shall we have some questions to wrap up?
Yeah, go for it.
So we actually have quite a few. So since we've got a sort of old worldy kind of guest, let's start with an old world question. If you were able to choose a lore of magic, AOS or old world, to be trained in, what would you choose?
Wait, say that one more time?
If you could choose a lore of magic to be trained in, what would you choose?
So like lore of fire, lore of death, lore
yeah.
of the wild.
I would choose lore of life, personally. Because I think it comes with the least amount of downsides and the most amount of upsides. Because they all of them will come with downsides. Like, getting too involved with any wind of magic is going to do things to you. But I feel like that would be the best case scenario.
Yeah, like I always used to run lore of life on my high elf mages back in the day because Throne of Vines plus regrowth was hilarious. But yes, I think lore of life is a good shout. If I was skilled enough, high magic would be cool because it can do kind of everything. But as a human, I think lore of light, is a good shout because I feel like I'm already up myself enough that it would kind of fit in with my personality quite nicely.
I'll pick whichever one allows you to learn Comet of Cassandora just because I have so many fun memories of that spell. I have so many fun memories of that spell on tabletop, so yeah, fuck it, just Comet. I remember one
Comet is the best spell. I love Comet.
I had one game where I got like 3 Comets of Cassandora on my wizards. That was hilarious.
All throughout 6th edition to 8th edition fantasy, I either won the game for myself or won the game for my opponent many times using Comets.
Fucking
yeah,
hilarious.
I think my favourite abiding memory of magic, though, was I had a high elf mage on horse who I rushed down the flank of my Ogre Kingdom's opponent and cast Purple Sun in a straight line across their entire battle line.
That tactic was always so heinous. Like, that was like, you deserved.
I only did it once.
You deserved to be slapped by your opponent if you.
I was 14. Let me off.
I was
You do
14.
far side bomb. Of course you're going to do that.
I only did it once, and it was for shits and giggles. I was 14. Let me off. But to be fair, it was hilarious because Ogre Kingdoms were initiative 2, so most of them just died in one go to the Purple Sun. But yeah, I didn't do that again. And to be fair, I don't just Farsight bomb into a Death Star. I Farsight bomb my entire army because it's funnier. But anyway. Yeah, I think Lore of Life or Lore of Light, if I'm going to be different. I'll admit, though, Rem, I'm surprised you didn't go Lore of Shadow because Night Lord's shady shit and pits to other dimensions and Occam's Mind Razor where you can just turn your intellect on people and just be like, yeah, you.
I've never used it on tabletop, so I can't say.
Oh, fair. But Occam's Mind Razor was hilarious. You got to use your leadership in place of your strength stat.
Nice.
It was hilarious. Right. Okay, a slightly deeper question. Which character's death, across all works of GW that you can think of, still sticks with you, if any?
Huh. Which character's death sticks with you?
I read that and thought, that's interesting.
I mean, I think
'Cause
for me, as much as a lot of people, it could have been, well, no, for me, the death that always sticks with me because it genuinely impacted how I see the race going forward was the death of Belegar Ironhammer. And I think it was a good death. Like, it was a great death, and it deeply, deeply showed the flaws of the dwarfs. And it's really tragic, though he goes out with such a spiteful double fuck you to Queekhead Tigger right at the end when he dies, which is glorious because he actually manages to surprise Queek by stabbing him in the armpit right when he dies, which ends up debilitating Queek much later on in the story. But Belegar's death was horrid in a good way.
That's that. I've not read that one, but it sounds like a really good shout. The one I stopped and thought about it when I read the question, and had Guy Haley allowed it to happen, I would be saying Dante here, because the way Dante went out in Devastation of Baal was amazing.
Yeah, they chickened out,
yeah. But sticking with that then made me think, probably the death that I remember is the Knights of Blood. I don't remember their names, but the way the Knights of Blood go out in Devastation of Baal is not a character death, I grant you, but they know what they are, they know how they are, and in their sacrifice they get to show Gabriel, Seth, and the Flesh Tearers a better way, a path forward that will almost potentially save the Flesh Tearers. And we're given what Gabriel goes on to do and how his role in Blood Angel politics afterwards maybe has a massive knock-on effect on the whole Blood Angels Legion. And I will call them Legion for this conversation because they were all together as one. So that one, I think, sticks with me, but it's not a character. The other one I remember is the way Malineth goes out in the new Gotrek novels. Like,
the way it affects Gotrek.
Yeah,
I know.
I was so mad when they revealed the new book. I was so mad.
Yeah, like the series should have just ended with her death.
Because I agree with you. Her death in that book and the way it went down was fantastic. Well, death, quote unquote.
But what it does to Gotrek, this unshakable uber murder bastard, the effect it has on Gotrek, and she's an elf. The death of an elf does that to Gotrek. That's fucking saying something.
For me, it'd probably have to be Ekene Debaku, the chapter master of the Celestial Lions, from the events of Spear of the Emperor, where he's like, "Yeah, we're going to help you guys. You know, with the Primaris and all, we got to get all this shit done." And all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, he just gets decapitated by a Kalidas assassin. It's like, "Oh shit," kind of moment. Just because it was so unexpected and completely out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, by that little hunched, deformed, serf. Yeah, he turns out he's a Kalidas assassin in disguise. Shum. It's like, fuck.
I think there's one actually that we've all missed here. I think it's the Celestial Lions again. Hell's Reach, not Hell's Reach, the novel.
One of the side stories.
The side story from Hell's Reach, whose name I've forgotten. I swear that's the Celestial Lions going out like champs.
Yeah.
And actually, the other one that's just come in my head is the World Engine. Like,
the entire
the
chapter
whole
goes
novel,
out, yeah.
the World Engine.
The entire chapter goes out, don't they? Yeah, the Astronauts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some really good... There have been some really good Space Marine self-sacrifices. Obviously, Grimaldus' speech as the Temple of the Emperor Ascendant falls down around him will never be topped. Thanks, ADB, for that one. It's not even ADB's speech, is it? But the way ADB writes everything around that speech, but Grimaldus doesn't die, so he doesn't count for this category.
Oh, you know what? Another one for me is the deaths. I don't want to say spoilers because it's so good to go into it blind, but I'll simply say the deaths of the characters at the end of Orc Slayer. Horrible. It's like the worst possible horror movie ending.
I've not actually... I don't think I've read Orc Slayer yet.
Orc Slayer, the ending, like, you will be depressed for at least a day afterwards. It's so sad.
Yeah. I've read Blight Slayer, but I haven't got that far yet. So
Yeah, Orc Slayer is from Gotrek and Felix, not the new Gotrek
It's
series.
an Orc Slayer, not
well,
Orc Slayer. Orc Slayer.
oh, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, fair enough. My bad.
That ending is an absolute bummer. That one, or I guess I would say, actually, okay, no, sorry. Final answer. Worst death, the one that sticks with me the most, and it makes me sad, and I don't like thinking about it because it makes me sad. Is Snorri Nosebiter. Snorri's death was, it was perfect, but it was that, like, I cried reading that. That was so sad.
Jeez. Right. Okay.
I was going to say, given the time, we might want to call it there, to be honest.
Yeah, there's plenty more, so we're not going to get through them all. So we'll put a pin in it and remind me to use 228 next time.
Yes. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we shall call it there. So, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much to Loremaster of Sotek for joining us this episode.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure as always.
Absolutely. And if ever you need advice on anything, mostly Old World, but also Sigmar, then please go over there, because as much as I can ramble about it, I am way behind and way less up-read. I feel like you and I need to find some time someday to sit down, because we actually did record a video together. I've lost the audio of it now. We actually did an AOS 4 video, and we actually sat down and recorded it, and we never got it put up.
Yeah,
So,
I've got to get caught up. I'm a few army books behind.
So, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
This has been Neve from Tactica Imperialis.
And I am also here. Loremaster of Sotek.
And we'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.